Hello, friends. Welcome to the Practicing Wholeness podcast. My name is Brooke Snow, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Today's topic is something I was contemplating on my walk this morning. I've really been thinking about my personal relationship to fear and how that influences a few things in life. First is just my ability to be present, to have joy, and how that influences also the relationship we have with ourself. And I call this podcast Practicing Wholeness because my intent is to invite me and anyone listening to do the work of living from a place of wholeness within our own heart. Wholeness is when we allow for all parts of who we are to be present. And this can require some unlearning about things and perspectives and judgments that we may have carried with us in the first half of our life. And as we go forward in the second half of our life, it's taking more of a perspective of love and acceptance rather than judgment and fixing. And if this feels new to you, just to orient from this direction, it definitely felt new for me. I spent the first half of life was all about fixing and judging. And so it definitely is a different experience to orient towards wholeness rather than orienting towards judgment and fixing. So if you're curious, continue listening. I know for me that orienting more this way and living from this intention has brought more peace into my life and given me greater access to love and joy and living in the present and really enjoying all the gifts that this life brings. So let's dive into talking about fear in particular, and how is it that fear prevents us from wholeness and joy and the present moment? One of the really helpful things about understanding fear for me has been understanding the different types of fear. To be simple, I'm just going to talk about two different types. I learned this from the book Playing Big by Tara Moore many, many, many years ago. She tells the story about how a Jewish rabbi shared with her that in the Hebrew language, there's actually two words for fear. The first is pashad fear, and the second is yira fear. Now, pashad fear, think of it as contraction, and yira fear, think of it as expansion. Like one is closed. Pashad fear is very much about the ego, and yira fear is going to be more oriented towards expansiveness and the divine. And we've all experienced both. One example might be like with pashad fear, the ego-based contraction fear. It is when the mind projects the worst case scenario. It's when we run into the future with our mind and we scare ourselves of how things could possibly go wrong, or we're worried about what other people think of us. There's a fear of somehow embarrassing ourselves or being cut off socially, not belonging, and scarcity, not enough, I'm not enough, there's not enough resources. Like all of those fears would fit just right into pashad fear. Have you experienced pashad fear? Probably millions of times in your life. And I really do like orienting around what does it feel like in the body, because that's where it's going to register first. Our mind can definitely interpret the feeling of the body, which is where all the stories come from, where we're projecting worst case scenarios. For me, when I feel pashad fear in the body, it does feel like a contraction. It might show up as like a contraction in my throat. My throat gets really tight. Perhaps it shows up as contraction in my heart. Maybe it shows up as contraction in my stomach. That's a really common one for me. What might it be for you? So kind of think about that. Maybe you even sense a little bit of that right now as you're listening to this. Maybe there's something happening in life right now for you, and it brings up some of that pashad fear, the contraction fear. Now let's contrast that with yira fear. This is fear that's going to actually be expansive. And expansive fear is what you feel when you are in the presence of the divine. Said another way, this is what you feel when you are in the presence of something bigger than yourself. It's awe, it's wonder. And we might not necessarily think about that as like a version of fear. And yet, maybe think back on your own life into moments. Maybe you got an invitation. Maybe it was like the proposal to get married and you were like excited about that. And you also just like felt this year of fear. Like, this is bigger than me. Like, this is like a whole new trajectory for my life. Maybe it was a new job. Maybe it was moving to a new place. Maybe it was starting a new relationship. There's so many times that we can experience that. Another one that comes to mind right now is just becoming a parent. I have 2 children. Each time one child came into the world, like that was definitely a moment of year of fear. It was, I have no idea what I'm doing. I am in the presence of something much bigger than myself. Like there's an element of wonder and awe, and also like, how is this going to go? Am I up for the task? And so thinking about that, like, how does that register in your own body as well? I think for me, like, as I just think about it for myself, I'm kind of tuning into some of those experiences. Instead of a contraction, there is a bit of an expansion. Sometimes it's almost like, for me, I notice it in my breath. I kind of hold my breath a little bit. It's more like, like my mouth might open if you're watching this on video, but it's just like, and then I like stop breathing because it's just like this year of fear is present, and there's uncertainty that comes with it, and it's like an opportunity to step into something that could bring a lot of possibility and learning and life and experience. All of that can come with some fear too. And I think understanding the different types can be really helpful. I was contemplating on my walk this morning, perhaps you've heard the phrase like faith and fear cannot coexist. And I really love to question things that I always believed were true, because I think there's some things to learn in that rather than just accepting things that I'd always accepted before. And I really started to question that. I thought, is that true? Like, can faith and fear not coexist? And as I'm like contemplating this and playing with it, one of the things that came to mind is like, well, what about year of fear? What about knowing that like you don't know everything? There is this big moment of uncertainty. There is something that's like bigger than myself. And can I have faith that it's going to work out? Can I bring some faith in there? Could those two things exist at the same time? And for me, I feel like I have already experienced that in my life, like that Yira experience of fear and like just this trust and surrender and faith that it's going to work out, like things are going to be okay. And in that regard, I do think faith and fear can coexist. In that regard, it feels like both are open, both are expansive. Pashad fear is, a contraction. And could you experience that and have faith at the same time. I know some people think you can't feel more than one emotion at a time. I feel like I have experienced more than one emotion at the same time. And and thinking about things that I want to have faith in, like I want to have faith in my marriage and that being a nourishing part of my life. I want to have faith in my relationship with my kids. I want to have faith in them. I want to have faith that the effort that I put forth to create this podcast and to communicate with people and to share the things that I've learned, I want to have faith that that's going to be of service. And I also have fear with all of those things. And sometimes that fear is the yira because it's like I'm in awe of it. And sometimes it is the pashad fear. And it's like, I'm human. I'm also going to contract. I'm also going to experience the other kind of fear. Oftentimes that pashad fear is tied to our past experiences. We've all gone through experiences that have hurt us, where we've gotten wounded, we've been hurt, we've been disappointed, we've failed. And those parts within us that have experienced that really do want to prevent us from having to go through that again. And so if we're starting a new relationship or putting ourselves out there to share something when we've been hurt in the past, there's going to be some of that contraction fear present, the pashad experience. So how do you work with that pashad while also trying to hold faith that this effort and desire and dream and hope could work out, that you could have faith in that? Can they both be present? And again, I'm just playing around here, contemplating and asking questions. I'm not claiming to have the definitive answer. And a lot of it I'm just toying with as I'm talking with the record button on right now. But I think it's useful to, deconstruct some of these things that we may have always held to be true and look a little bit deeper. And can we feel more than one emotion at the same time? I feel like I have. And I'll say that oftentimes, even if there is more than one emotion present, I do experience like maybe there's one that's more at the forefront. Maybe there's one that's a little bit more dominant than the other. There are times when I do feel that pashad fear come into something that I'm wanting to have faith in. What do I do with that? How do I manage that so that it doesn't like overcome the faith that I want to have, the hope, the desire, the trust? How do I manage that fear so that I can hold on? And I'm going to share with you the most simple practice that I have begun doing. I've practiced it for a couple of years, but it's really on the forefront of my mind right now. And it's just to relax. Relax the body when that contraction comes. And so let's give a little example of this. When I feel that contraction or that pashad fear enter my body, like I say, for me, it's the throat that closes up or the chest that gets tight, or my stomach is a really common place that just goes tight. My breath is something I'll notice that I just like stop breathing. I'm just holding my breath. And as soon as I have the mental awareness, like, oh, I'm in contraction, I'm resisting something right now. What I have begun to practice is, can I just let it be here? Can I just like let go of resistance? And what it feels like in the body is, instead of closing, I'm just inviting myself to open. Can I just open? Can I just open to the sensations that are present right now? And I know that sounds really simple. We'll do a little practice together of that in a minute. I know that it sounds really simple. In fact, it's so simple and it's also so effective that I usually like laugh out loud, or I'm just like, is that like some magic trick or something? Because I'll feel the rush of sensation come into my body. I'll feel the contraction that comes, and then I'll just tell myself, okay, open. Just like stop resisting, just relax the body, just open. And it's like literally almost instantly, the intensity is just gone. And I'm like, well, where did it go? Like, because it is so effective, like the intensity is gone, which shows that the intensity comes from our resistance, not from the actual like fear itself. We are resisting the physical sensation in our body that it brings up. And for anybody who struggles with anxiety, you know this feeling well. And this might be a worthwhile experiment to play around with, is just when you feel the tension, when you feel the closing, tightening up, rising within you, what happens when you just open? Just relax, just let it be here. And I said we'd practice it. So why don't we do that right now? My invitation to you, and I know a lot of people listen to podcasts while doing something else, giving as much presence as you can to this question and this mind-body experience right now. My invitation is to just think of something in your life that maybe brings a little bit of the pashad fear. Maybe you have some resistance to. What are you worried about in life right now? What is something that is not really going the way that you want to be going? For most of us, those questions are enough to surface something at least. And, with that topic, that scenario, that memory, whatever it is in your mind, just noticing, how does my body respond? Do I have contraction? Where does it show up for me in my body? What is that like? And once you start to notice where it is and what it's like, my invitation now is, can you just open? Can you relax? Just relax the body. Just open to the sensation that's here and just allow it to be here. That's it. Just relax the body, open up, and just allow it to be here. What do you notice about the quality of sensation when you open and you relax? Does it change in any way? Does it become more intense or less intense, or does it stay exactly the same? Just when you let go of resistance, what happens? So this can be something that's really helpful. It also can be something that needs to be repeated often, especially if you're really in the thick of going through something that brings up a lot of that pashad fear in your life. It can be a new experience to train the body and the nervous system and the mind to respond like in actually the opposite way than it's used to responding. It's used to closing up, and this is just an invitation to open, to accept, to expand, to relax, to allow what is here to be here. And what I usually notice is that it's pretty instant that I notice a change in what the sensation feels like. And I also notice that the moment that I start telling the story in my mind again, that it will recirculate like that contraction. If I start going into all the things I should be worried about, the possible scenarios that could play out, maybe I'm playing a memory that was hurtful to me in the past. And when I go into the mind with it, it'll surface the sensation. And so part of the ability of managing that has to do with, can I come back into my body? Can I just be with a sensation and let go of the story? When I can really drop in just into the body, just paying attention to, what does this feel like? Is it tight? Is it hot? Is it cold? What are the qualities of the sensation that's here? Can I open? Can I expand? Can I relax? Can I just allow it to be here? And I can stay just with the sensation experience. I notice that I'm okay. Like, all of me is okay. And so it is a new practice, especially for our brain, to stay just with the physical rather than the mental. And yet, as we do that, we begin to retrain the nervous system that we are safe, that it's actually okay to feel what's ever here. And we begin to notice that, oh, I felt what was here and I survived. I felt what was here and I'm actually okay. And so, in time and with practice, our relationship that we have to fear begins to change. And it becomes something that we're more familiar with. We're like, oh, I know this feeling. I'm going to just relax right now. I know how to handle it. I know that it's actually safe for me to feel what's present. I can be with that and allow the experience of being human and all of its colorful array of emotional experiences that come with that to be here and be okay. So, fear, when we can learn to make better friends with that fear, allowing it to be present, when all of a sudden it's okay to feel those things, and when we learn how to just relax and open, that gives us access to the present. It gives us access to our heart. It gives us access to our inner knowing, our wisdom, our intuition. And my favorite part of this is that when I'm no longer resisting the fear and I've been able to open up, that creates an alignment between the body and the mind. The body is no longer resisting, the mind is no longer resisting. And from that place, I don't have the busy mind anymore. The mind actually quiets down. From that place, I can access wisdom to make choices that need to be made, or to access a better thought or a mantra or an affirmation, or the intention I had to hold faith in something rather than to get carried away in fear. So that's my invitation and little tool that I wanted to leave you with, is simply, can I open? Can I relax? Those are my two favorite words when I notice that sensation coming, is just open or relax the body, like just letting go of the energy. And it's a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to be in resistance. Just experience it for yourself now. Tighten up your fists, tighten up your body, just resist something and then let it all go. Wow, that was a lot of energy, and it feels so much more relaxed and calm and energizing because I have access to my heart again, to just be open. And so that's the invitation. Can you open? Anyway, we'll dive more into these little practices and how it relates to practicing wholeness as more episodes come. But thank you for being here with me today. I hope this serves you well. I would love to hear if you have any other insights about how you personally are able to be in good relationship with fear, What have you done that helps you? You can leave a comment. I would love to learn from your own experience that you have. Um, and so I thank you for being here. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.